Hey everyone, and welcome to our deep dive today.
Ooh, a deep dive.
Yeah, we're going to be looking at some really interesting stuff in English today.
Oh, cool, cool.
We're going to focus on time adverbs.
Time adverbs.
You know, like frequently or usually or seldom.
Right.
All those words that kind of tell us how often something happens.
And those are so important for sounding fluent.
I think so too.
Yeah, it's like they add this depth to your English. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like instead of just saying, I go for a run.
Right.
You could say, I usually go for a run.
Exactly.
Or I seldom go for a run, or,
Yeah, it gives you so much more information.
Yeah, it really tells you about the routine.
Totally.
So where do we want to start with these? We've got like a ton we could talk about.
Well, why don't we start with maybe like the high frequency ones?
Okay, high frequency.
Yeah, the ones that mean you do something a lot.
Okay, so like every day.
Well, every day is a good one.
Every day, yeah.
But we've also got things like frequently.
Oh, frequently.
Okay. Yeah. So like you might say, I frequently forget my keys.
Oh gosh, don't we all?
Right.
Happens all the time.
All the time, yeah.
And then there's often.
Often.
And you know what's interesting about often? You can actually pronounce it two ways.
Two ways.
You can say often or often.
Really? I did not know that.
Yeah, both are totally fine.
Wow. Okay, I'm learning stuff already.
So you could say like, it often rains in tropical places.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Right. Or I often go to bed late.
Okay.
Something like that.
So we've got frequently, often. What else is there?
Well, there's also usually.
Usually.
Yeah, and that kind of implies you do something most of the time, but maybe not all the time.
Okay, so like
Like you could say, I usually make a pot of coffee in the morning.
yeah, I usually brew coffee every morning.
Exactly.
But maybe sometimes I don't.
Maybe sometimes you want tea or something.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Right, so it leaves a little bit of room for exceptions.
So it's not quite as strong as like always.
Right, exactly. Okay, I like that.
And then there's another good one.
Okay.
Regularly.
Regularly.
Yeah. So this one is good for when you do something consistently.
Okay.
But there might be exceptions.
Okay.
Like you might say, I regularly go running after work.
Okay, yeah.
But maybe sometimes you skip it because you have social plans or something.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So it's like a pattern.
Okay.
But it's not set in stone.
Gotcha. So that's regularly.
So we've got frequently, often, usually regularly. Those are all kind of in the same family.
Yeah, they're all kind of like the high frequency words.
Okay.
But what about the other end of this spectrum?
Okay. The other end?
What about those things you hardly ever do?
Like seldom.
Seldom, exactly.
Seldom.
Yeah. It's a great word.
Not a word you hear every day.
Not every day, no, but it's a good one to know.
Yeah.
You could say like, I seldom eat fast food.
I try to seldom eat fast food.
Good for you.
But sometimes,
Sometimes you just gotta
have that burger.
Yeah, I get it. Okay, so we've got those words that are kind of on a scale,
Right.
frequently, often, usually, regularly, seldom.
Exactly.
Are there any other kind of time expressions?
Oh, yeah. There are a bunch of phrases that are really useful.
Oh, okay.
So one that's really common is every day,
Okay.
which literally means you do something every single day.
Like I wake up every day.
Exactly.
Or I brush my teeth twice every day.
There you go.
Okay.
And then there's every other day or every second day,
Go.
which means you do something every 2 days.
So like I wash my hair every other day.
Perfect example.
Okay.
And then there are those phrases for things that happen kind of randomly.
Okay, randomly, so not on a regular schedule.
Exactly. So we
Yeah.
have things like every now and then.
Okay, every now and then.
Like every now and then I like to go to the movies.
Oh.
Or every now and then I get a craving for chocolate.
Oh, yeah. Every now and then I just want a big bowl of ice cream.
That's a good one.
It doesn't happen every day, but when it does.
When it does,
You know?
you got to go for it.
Exactly.
And then there's from time to time.
Okay, from time to time.
Which is similar.
Well, what's the difference between every now and then and from time to time?
They're pretty similar,
Okay.
but maybe from time to time is a little bit less frequent.
Okay.
Like maybe every now and then is a couple times a month.
Mm-hmm.
And from time to time is maybe a couple times a year.
Okay, that makes sense.
So you might say, I go hiking from time to time.
I put my hair up from time to time. Okay, so we've got every day, every other day, every now and then from time to time.
A whole range of options.
That's a lot of time expressions.
It is, but they're all so useful.
I think so too, and it's really interesting to see how much variety there is.
Right. It's not just about being grammatically correct. It's about having all these different shades of meaning.
Yeah, like a painter having a whole palette of colors.
Exactly. And you can choose the perfect shade to express exactly what you mean.
That's a great way to put it.
So how are you feeling about all this? Is it making sense?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I'm definitely starting to see how these time adverbs can really make my English sound more natural.
I'm glad to hear it.
It's like having a whole new set of tools in my language toolbox.
That's the spirit.
And you know what's really cool? I'm starting to notice these words more when I'm listening to other people speak English.
Oh, that's great.
It's like I'm more aware of the nuances now.
That's the first step to really mastering them.
I'm excited to keep learning more.
Me too, me too.
This is fun.
I love talking about language.
I too.
So where do we go from here?
Well, we've talked a lot about the different meanings of these time adverbs,
Right?
but I'm curious to know more about how to actually use them.
Like in real life conversations.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's a great topic for our next deep dive.
Oh, perfect. I can't wait. Okay, so we're back and ready to dive even deeper.
Deeper into time adverbs.
Totally.
All right, let's do it.
I'm ready.
Okay, so we've talked about all these different words, like frequently, usually seldom, all that good stuff.
Right.
But now I think it's time to actually see them in action.
Okay, yeah. How do we use them in real life?
That's the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, it's one thing to know what they mean,
Right.
but it's another thing to actually be able to use them naturally.
That's true.
So let's think about it.
Okay.
Imagine you're talking about your exercise routine.
Okay, my workout routine.
Right, and
Yeah.
you could just say, I go to the gym.
Right, which is fine.
It's fine, it gets the message across.
It does.
But what if you wanted to add a little bit more detail?
Okay.
You could say something like, I usually go to the gym 3 times a week.
Okay.
Or I seldom go to the gym.
Right.
Or I go to the gym every other day.
Okay, so now we're being more specific.
Exactly.
And it sounds more natural.
It does. It really does.
Because in real life, we don't always do things the exact same way every time.
Right. We have those little variations in our routines.
Yeah.
And these time adverbs help us capture that.
Yeah, like I might say, I regularly go for a run in the morning,
Uh-huh.
but sometimes I sleep in.
Yeah, that happens to the best of us.
It does.
So you're not lying when you say regularly.
Yeah, it means-
You're just acknowledging that there are exceptions. So it's
Okay.
all about finding that balance between accuracy and naturalness.
Okay, so accuracy and naturalness.
Yeah.
Those are our 2 key words.
I like that.
Yeah.
And you know what else is really cool about time adverbs?
What's that?
They can actually reveal a lot about our personalities.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Think about it.
Okay.
If someone says, I always wake up at 6 a.m.,
Uh-huh.
what does that tell you about them?
That they're very disciplined.
Exactly. Maybe they're very organized and routine-oriented.
Yeah, like they have their life together.
Right. And then someone who says, I seldom plan my meals in advance,
Okay.
maybe they're a little bit more spontaneous.
More go with the flow.
Yeah, exactly.
So these little words can tell us a lot about a person.
Yeah. They can, it's subtle, but it's there.
I like that.
And, you know, it's not just about everyday conversations.
Okay.
Time adverbs can be really useful in more formal settings, too.
Like at work?
Exactly like in a job interview or a presentation.
Okay.
If you say, I frequently collaborate with colleagues on projects,
Okay.
it sounds a lot more impressive than just saying, I work on a project.
It does. It shows you're a team player.
Right, and it highlights your experience.
So these time adverbs can make us sound more professional.
They can definitely add a touch of sophistication.
I like it.
And you know what else?
What?
Time adverbs can even help us understand different cultures better.
Ooh. Okay, tell me more about that.
Well, I think we should probably save that for our next segment.
Okay, you're killing me with these cliffhangers.
I know, but it'll be worth the wait.
I trust you. Okay, so we're back for the final part of our deep dive, and I'm dying to know about this connection between time adverbs and culture.
Oh, it's fascinating, really.
Okay, lay it on me.
Think about it this way. Different cultures have different attitudes towards time.
Right, like some cultures are very punctual.
Exactly.
And others are more relaxed.
And those differences can show up in the way people use time adverbs.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Like, imagine a culture where being on time is super important.
Okay.
People might use words like always or exactly more often.
Right, to emphasize that precision.
Exactly.
And then in a culture that's more laid back.
People might use often or sometimes more.
Okay, yeah, because things aren't as fixed.
Right, it's more about flexibility.
Wow, so these little words can actually give us insights into different cultural values.
They really can.
It's like their little cultural clues.
Exactly, and if you can pick up on those clues,
Yeah.
you can communicate more effectively with people from different backgrounds.
That's so cool. I never thought about it that way before.
It's all about going beyond the surface level of language
Right.
and really understanding the cultural context.
I'm starting to see how mastering time adverbs is about so much more than just speaking correct English. It really is.
It's about understanding people better
Exactly, and connecting with them on a deeper level.
and maybe even bridging those cultural gaps.
That's the power of language, isn't it?
It really is. I'm so glad we had this deep dive today.
Me too. It's been a pleasure.
I feel like I've learned so much about these little words.
They're small but mighty.
They really are.
Yeah.
So before we wrap up,
Yeah.
I want to leave our listeners with a little challenge.
Oh, a challenge. I like it.
As you go about your day today,
Okay.
pay attention to how people use time adverbs.
All right.
See if you can notice any patterns.
Interesting.
Do certain adverbs seem more common in certain situations
Okay.
or with certain people?
I love it.
What do those choices tell you about the speaker?
That's a great way to put everything we've talked about into practice.
And who knows, maybe you'll even discover something new.
Always learning.
Always learning well on that note.
Yeah.
I think it's time for us to say goodbye.
It's been fun.
It really has. Thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me. And to all our listeners out there, keep exploring the fascinating world of language.
Absolutely.
And we'll see you next time for another deep dive.